What is up, guys? My name is Sarth and welcome back to the channel. Have you ever wondered exactly how good Thunderfury is for rogues, possibly in comparison to warriors, but more so just how good exactly Thunderfury is for rogues, when and if it'll ever be replaced? Is it actually your BiS weapon? And how much damage does it do as an increase from whatever the best weapons in the game are right now and moving forward? So today we're going to break down everything you need to know about Thunderfury, the Blessed Blade of the Windseeker. Once again, my name is Sarth. Welcome to the channel. If you like this sort of content, please like and subscribe or join the Discord channel where we do a bunch of exclusive videos as well and a lot of other theory crafting. But on that note, guys, let's get right into it. Alright guys, I got Thunderfury last week and this video was supposed to come out on Tuesday, so we had to switch things up with a little bit of hoopla, but let's break it all down. Thunderfury, the Blessed Blade of the Windseeker. It is a 1.9 weapon speed sword with 44 low end damage, 115 top end damage, and an additional 16 to 30 nature damage. So it does 53.95 DPS, which is pretty great, 5 agility, 5 stamina, 8 fire resistance, 9 nature res, and it has this amazing proc that damages the main target, only the main target, for 300 nature damage. After the initial damage is applied, it does a proc that spreads out to all of the targets near you that reduces the nature resistance of the target, the singular target, the main target, by 25. And the primary target does get something similar to a thunderclap effect, reducing the attack speed by 20% for 12 seconds. Now, if you don't know by now, you probably should, but I'm going to break it down super fast how you can get Thunderfury, and that is from getting 2 bindings, the Blessed Bindings of the Windseeker, that drop off of Baron Geddon and Gar in Molten Core. You need 100 Arcanite bars to help you make 10 Elementium bars, which also will take Elementium ore from the Blackwing Lair raid, and you'll put it all together, go to Silithus, kill a raid boss named Thunderan, and boom, there you go, you get the Thunderfury. Interestingly enough, the item that drops off of Thunderan actually is an item that gives you a quest, and that quest item turns in to give Thunderfury. I don't know if anyone's ever tested this yet, but somebody warned me, so if you accidentally give this item to somebody wrong, they might be able to instantly turn in and get Thunderfury. So you might be able to get your main tank Thunderfury if your random rogue or someone in a pug got one of the bindings. You might be able to just piece them together and make it. I don't know. If someone does have actual confirmation on this, please let me know in the comments. Right after that, before we get into everything else about the numbers for rogues, I want to go over a few more things about this weapon. The first is that the proc rate of the weapon proc seems to be at about 18, almost 19%. And that is a number from somebody on the Fight Main Discord who tested this out over like 15,000 attacks, and it seems to be about 6 procs per minute. I'm assuming that was in the main hand, so it'll be slightly less in your offhand. Don't worry about that, guys. It's about 18, almost 19%. The next thing to know is that you probably won't be getting this weapon as a rogue, and today when I break down all of the numbers, you can see why it is actually very powerful for rogues. But your guild is going to need, or is going to want to have, at least 4 tanks and off tanks with Thunderfury for Naxxramas. So you'll most likely be seeing this weapon, and you have in the past be seeing it prio to your, obviously your main tank first, but then off tanks, because the proc that happens actually does cause a decent amount of threat. There are some misconceptions out there about the threat amount. It's not some ridiculous threat amount, and if your tank is having issues with threat already and complaining because he doesn't have Thunderfury, you should know that this isn't like a be-all end-all fix to threat. It's not going to be like that massive. So there's actually a common fallacy, a common myth out there, and I think this is how it worked in private servers, that Thunderfury's weapon proc actually works kind of like Ignite does for mages. And that means that the first person to proc the weapon proc of Thunderfury on the main target would get a threat boost, and then every subsequent proc from every other Thunderfury in your group would actually add threat solely to that initial target. So I wanted to test this out and make sure for myself. And so we went to Blastlands with our boy Falcon, who's a mod in the channel as always. And if you ever see him, say what's up. And he would DPS a mob to get as much threat as possible. And then right after he got a proc, he would stop damaging and I would DPS. And you can see that as I get Thunderfury procs, it doesn't increase his threat at all. It just increases my threat. So if you're considering giving this to somebody specifically because you want to boost the threat of the main tank, that's actually a common fallacy, and that myth has now been busted. But either way, there are a lot of things going on where people think this is like the biggest threat boost of all time. And as a rogue, it does actually add a decent amount of threat. So if your tanks aren't very good, you could pull aggro, but it's not like that bad by any means. So all of your good tanks, if you're all world buffed, you're not gonna pull aggro, don't worry about it. Do your normal things because threat is an issue mainly for Horde, only really for Horde, not for Alliance. Just do your normal rotation. If you're gonna do lip openers, just have Vanish ready, have your lips ready, you're fine. Okay, so now that I've said all of that, let's get right into the exact numbers on Thunderfury, and that's really what I wanted to break down today, really the juice of Thunderfury. And today I tested out multiple lengths of fights and with multiple different parameters in the Garcia spreadsheet so that I could break down numbers for you guys. I can't show that on screen because I've said this in multiple videos, but I have that spreadsheet on my laptop since I don't have Excel on this computer. The most interesting thing, the biggest takeaway you guys are gonna get from the numbers that I have today, and these numbers are all assuming you're wearing the Phase 4 BiS Sword Rogue gear. The most interesting thing is actually that Thunderfury is the best main hand weapon in the game right now. That's excluding rank 14 weapons. I'll tell you about them in 1 second. It is more DPS to have Thunderfury Maladath than it is to have CTS Maladath. But to have Thunderfury in your offhand is usually going to be even stronger. And what that means really is if you have the best main hand weapon, CTS and Thunderfury in your offhand is going to be your best situation in the entire game currently. And we're going to go into exactly what the BiS situations are in all of the next phases to come. Let's do that right now. As well, before I break down anything else, one thing you should know is that Thunderfury is also actually your best offhand for daggers. If you're dagger spec, especially if you're human, but it's your best offhand for dagger spec because right now you're using Corehound Tooth, and Thunderfury will outperform Corehound Tooth with Perdition's Blade or Dragon Fang Blade in your main hand and Thunderfury in your offhand on every fight except for Veil. So you would swap on your Corehound Tooth for Veil Straws. Alright, so breaking down some of the numbers right now, I've done all of the numbers with Thunderfury as a main hand and offhand, with daggers, and with all of the weapons to come. So Thunderfury as your main hand weapon, combined with Maladath on a 75-second fight, is going to do 1258 DPS. And that's actually only if you're not human. If you are human, your BiS offhand would be obviously right now Warblade of the Hikari, but that'll change in next phase as well to Ravencrest Legacy if you are human. The rank 14 main hand though is technically actually your best main hand in the game, and that will actually even still outperform in next phase. That'll outperform Ancient Karaji Ripper. So the new best main hand that comes from the AQ40 raid is still outperformed by your rank 14 weapon. The only time you're going to replace that rank 14 main hand sword, even if you are Alliance or Horde, is going to be in Nax. Next, I want to look at what CTS and Thunderfury in the offhand does, which is 1265. So that's about 7 DPS higher than using Thunderfury in your main hand and Maladath in your offhand. But if you're using CTS and Maladath itself, they are both weaker than Thunderfury. Again, either if you have one of these weapons and one Thunderfury, the combination of the two weapons is going to be your best setup. Thunderfury, while it is the best main hand in the game right now, you'll do more damage, even more damage with it in your offhand, because it's not that much better than everything else as a main hand, if that makes sense. I'm going to share this Google Doc, and I'm going to also do a video next week going over exactly what weapon combinations you're going to use for the rest of the game and when you're going to replace things. But moving on from here, let's look at how Thunderfury performs if you're a dagger rogue. And if you're a dagger rogue, then you're going to use Thunderfury in your offhand. So Purds with Thunderfury, if you're a dagger rogue, if you're a non-human, will do 1234 under these parameters. And Purds with Corehound Tooth is going to do 1228 DPS as a non-human. But if you swap that to being a human, the upgrade from using Thunderfury is even larger, where your upgrade will be doing 1256 DPS, which is almost 24 DPS increase. Instead of, if you're using Purds Corehound Tooth, it's still going to be like 10 DPS difference being Horde versus Alliance on this instance. Thunderfury is going to still be your best offhand in every fight except for Veil. Now I tested out things as well for next phase with daggers. So as a dagger rogue moving into the next phase, there is a situation, a BiS situation, where you're using Thunderfury as your offhand still, and that's if you have Death's Sting. Because the plus daggers in your main hand apparently affects your main hand enough for Thunderfury to still be your BiS in your offhand. But there is a situation where you do replace your Thunderfury, and that's if you don't have Death Sting, but you have 2 Blessed Karaji Pugios. If you have 2 of these, this is actually a better offhand than Thunderfury by itself without the plus daggers from Death Sting. And the interesting thing here, though, is if you get just one of these, you're not replacing it in your offhand with Thunderfury because you're just going to move it into your main hand over your Purds blade and then just keep Thunderfury in your offhand because your other offhand of choice would be Corehound Tooth. So until you get 2 of these, or if you get Death Sting, you are going to use Thunderfury. So in conclusion, guys, after I take away all of the numbers and we just look at the questions we asked ourselves in the beginning, is Thunderfury actually your BiS? And to take away from that, the answer is pretty much indefinitely yes. Thunderfury is your BiS offhand for pretty much every situation, almost daggers and swords for the rest of the game for most people. In Naxxramas, you actually replace Thunderfury with 2 different weapons, the Hungering Cold off of Kel'Thuzad and the Blade of the Fallen Seraph. Both of those are slight upgrades if you are not a human. But if you are a human, Thunderfury actually outperforms until the end of the game. If you're a human rogue and you want to get Thunderfury, this will be your BiS offhand until the end of Classic. So hold on to this weapon, try to get it. If you can, you're probably going to have to pug groups and reserve the bindings for yourselves, and your guild is not going to help you make it. You're going to have to get the bars for yourself. As a sword rogue in this next phase, right into AQ, you are going to still be using Thunderfury. If you're a Horde rogue or an Alliance rogue, no matter what situation you're in, you are still using Thunderfury. And as a dagger rogue, you're actually not replacing Thunderfury as an offhand until you get 2 Blessed Karaji Pugios in next phase. If you end up getting Death Sting, you can use Thunderfury in the offhand over a Pugio. Other than the Sims, and I would also warn, like, always be wary of Sims, test things out yourself, but by the numbers, by the books, Thunderfury is your BiS offhand completely in the game right now. Technically, it's the best main hand other than a rank 14 main hand sword. It is the best main hand in the game as well, but it does better if you have a good main hand and use it as the offhand. From there, the only time you're replacing Thunderfury as a sword rogue is in Naxxramas, and if you are a human sword rogue, you're literally never replacing it. Thunderfury is your BiS weapon until the end of the game. And as a dagger rogue, it's a better offhand than Corehound Tooth on every fight except for Veil. So again, it is your BiS weapon. I'm so excited to play with this weapon. I'm so excited to test everything out for you guys in the live client other than just in the numbers. So if you want to see me do that and you want to see me playing with this, I will be doing a speed run next Monday at 7 p.m. PST, where my guild is trying to go for a sub 25-minute clear. And I think tonight, as I record this video, There's another guild on my server on the Horde side that's probably gonna beat what our time was before, so we're gonna try to beat them. I don't know if we are. They're really, really good. Honestly, they're really good. But from that, guys, come hang out in the Discord channel. If you have any questions, feel free to hit me up there. Anyone can join the Discord channel. If you like this sort of content, please make sure to like and subscribe. I'm gonna be doing a video breaking down every single weapon, swords, daggers, maces, fist weapons, until the end of the game. On that note, I also forgot, but if you have the claw in your main hand and Thunderfury in your offhand, it's gonna be your best offhand with the claw right now as well. And last but not least, guys, as always, feel free to come check out my Twitch TV/Sarth. And I'm streaming right now every Monday, Tuesday, Friday, Saturday, leaving the middle of the week open to work on these YouTube videos for you guys. And there you have it, guys. I'll catch you all on the next one.